We were talking about absolute value equations, domain and range, and increasing and decreasing values. We'll also be discussing on how to graph absolute value equations.
By Maaz Abbasi and Siraj. Key terms and concepts for this lesson are absolute value graphing, domain range, and increasing and decreasing.
Here we'll be talking about the parent function, y equals absolute value bar x absolute value bar. The domain for this function is negative infinity to infinity, while the range for this function is 0 to infinity. The increasing value is from 0 to infinity, as from the x value is 0, it starts going up until infinity. The decreasing value is from negative infinity until 0. As it hits 0, aka the center point, it starts decreasing.
In this example, we will be graphing 3 absolute value x minus 5 plus 1. The increasing would be 5 to infinity, and the decreasing would be negative infinity to 5. The domain would be negative infinity to infinity because of the graph being seen all across horizontally, and the range would be 1 to infinity as the graph starts at 1 and goes to infinity.
Here we'll be talking about a simple equation. 2 absolute value x plus 4 absolute value. The increasing for this function is negative 4 until infinity, while the decreasing is negative infinity until 4. The domain for this function is negative infinity to infinity, as all absolute values equations always go from negative infinity to infinity. The range for this function is from 0 to infinity.
We will now graph the hardest example, negative 2 absolute value half x plus 4 end of absolute value plus 1. This graph has a negative and a large stretch, which should really be hard for some people. The increasing would be negative infinity to negative 4, as the graph only goes to the negative 4, and the decreasing goes from negative 4 to infinity. The domain would be negative infinity to infinity, as the graph is seen throughout the entire domain, and the range would be negative infinity to 0, as the range is only seen up to 0. One common mistake is not correctly graphing the width factor of the absolute value graph.
Here's a common error. People usually mix up the domain and range, writing negative infinity to infinity as a range and 0 to infinity as domain.